In this video, I'm going to show you how you can use Buncee to differentiate an activity in class. So say that I'm making this solve by factoring worksheet, and I really have two groups of students. One of them I know is just going to speed through the worksheet and need extra problems, and the other one I know is going to need more time for this particular activity. What I would do is make my initial Buncee, like you're seeing right here, with just 5 slides, 1 video to watch, and then 4 slides worth of questions. Then I would just duplicate my Buncee and edit it to add on more questions for my more advanced group. So they would do the 4 questions that I have laid out, and then I would just duplicate the slides to kind of add on another lesson to the end. So here I've just duplicated slide 1, and I've added the next lesson video for them to watch. Then I'm going to switch up some of those key points for them to remember. I'm also going to change the problems that I have to do. And down here, I'm going to take away the QR code since the QR code really only needs to go on that first slide. After that, I'm going to look back and duplicate this type of question. So I'm going to duplicate that first factoring question slide, and I'm just going to switch up the problems to the more advanced question type. So I'm going to keep with the same format of 2 multiple choice and 2 free response. For the multiple choice, I will put in some sample answers and select the one that is correct. And for the free response, I only put the question. I'll explain to you in a little bit how I get these exponents and add them in, so stay tuned for that. Okay, so now I'm actually going to just duplicate that same slide that I just did with the factoring, and I'm going to have them solve. So I'm just going to set each of the same questions, set it equal to 0, and instead of factoring, they're going to be solving. So I need to just switch up the questions and the answer choices here. So that's what I'm doing for this slide. After I finished that, I want a last slide to actually be a free response question type. So I'm going to add a free response question here. And I'm just going to ask them to list 3 main takeaways from the lesson, and if they have any questions about anything, to just use the space to ask that question. And here I'm making a little joke at the end, hope you enjoyed squared. And here's how I insert any exponents or subscripts for that matter. I am using Chrome and I'm on a Mac, and if you go to the edit menu and you go to emojis and symbols, if I just type in the search bar 2, you'll see that I have the superscript option. There's also a subscript option, and I just click it and that inserts it perfectly. Here, that looks good. Let me add some punctuation and let me change up the font type to be consistent with what I was using before. Make it a little bit bigger to be more pleasing. And that's my lesson. I'll rename it with the factoring worksheet advanced here. And now that I'm done with this, I'm going to go back to my Buncee dashboard. I have my 2 worksheets there. And now let me go to the classes tab so that I can assign this to my sample class. Let me do a factoring lesson is going to be the first one, and that's just going to be the simpler of the 2. Choose a start date and a due date. And here I'm going to choose recipient. So there's 2 ways to do this. I can just manually select student 1, 2, and 3, for example, if those are the 3 students that I want to assign this lesson to. Or if I'm often sectioning my class into specific groups, I might create groups and create one that's called Group 1 and create another one that's called Group 2, and I've added them. And now you just drag and drop. So student 1, student 2, student 3, say, are in Group 1, and student 4, 5, 6, and 7 are in that Group 2. For this particular activity, I'm going to make Group 2 my more advanced group. I'm going to give them the more advanced one. So how I assign it to only one group is I go into this edit, and then I just deselect all, and then under students in group 1, I press select all, so that only assigns it to the 3 students. Now the next step is just to add that Buncee. So I find the Buncee that I want, which was just my factoring worksheet, and there's that preview button. I often preview it, make sure I'm assigning the right one. This is the right one with those 4 question slides, and I'm just going to press add, and that's it. Students don't need to submit a Buncee for this one. They're just solving the questions on my Buncee, so I turned that off. I'm going to assign it to my second group by just making another assignment here. And this is going to be my factoring lesson advanced. And this has both factoring lessons 1 and 2 in it. Again, choose a start and end date. And now to edit the recipients, in this one I'm going to just show you if I wanted to just manually select the students instead of using the groups option, I can just choose student 4, 5, 6, and 7 here. That's it. You can see that it automatically selected everybody in group 2 because that was consistent. And then I'm going to add the advanced Buncee to this one. I could preview it again if I needed to. And that's it. I'm going to submit it. And now I have my 2 different Buncees that are assigned to my 2 different groups to differentiate.